I stood before the mirror, but the face staring back wasn't mine. It was the King of Slaughter, the head of the 7 kings, reflected in a throne of burning red light. I watched myself, or rather, the demon I am, declare I am the zero judge, the arbiter of everything, my power radiating outward. I snapped back to reality in the bathroom, just a normal guy. I am the King of Slaughter, yet I'm so powerless I can't even crush an ant. I've realized my slaughter talent allows me to gain power through death, but when I told my grandfather, he was so terrified he ran away, screaming at me to never, ever reveal my true abilities. A distress call crackled over the radio. Ellie, asking for help. A terrifying, horned creature loomed in the dark, rainy alleyway, standing over the bloodied bodies of fallen soldiers. Ellie, injured and exhausted, stood in the rain, struggling to even hold her blade. I heard the soldier on the ground begging, "Captain Ellie, help me." Ellie lunged, her glowing blade meeting the monster's strike. She was thrown back into the water, her watch flashing red. She was barely hanging on, reporting, Level 4 ability user. I listened in, feeling helpless. Ellie was dying, trying to call for reinforcements that were already on their way, but she knew it was too late. She closed her eyes, accepting her fate as the monster approached. I stood in the street, watching, clutching my umbrella. Ellie saw me and screamed, "Stop rubbernecking! Get out of here!" The monster, towering and ferocious, turned its glowing red eyes toward me. I took a breath. If I didn't act, she was dead. I stepped forward, activating my power, a glowing sigil burning on my hand. I launched myself at the monster, a single, decisive strike sending it crashing through the brick wall behind it. I stood over the fallen beast, my hand still glowing, the energy dissipating. As I turned away, ignoring the carnage, Ellie groaned, "I'm critically injured. Can you drag me to shelter?" I ignored her. Why should I help someone who couldn't even say please? She pleaded, but I just dragged her by her collar, unceremoniously dumping her on the concrete steps. "Thank you," she gritted out, her face flushed with humiliation. When she asked my name, I didn't mince words. Qin Juanhao. Same name, same surname. I'm not changing a thing. I walked home, leaving the chaos behind. Inside, my family was having dinner. My mother was berating them, holding out 2 precious, awakening serums. She was giving them to my sister and Xiaoxin, leaving me with nothing, treating me like I didn't exist. My sister stood up, furious, pointing her finger at me, accusing my mother of favoring a parentless kid who just takes from them. My father tried to intervene, suggesting, "Why not give the extra one to Xiaoyu? She's our real daughter." The argument escalated. My sister was livid, and my mother was trying to keep the peace. I walked in, and the atmosphere shifted instantly. My mother forced a strained, fake smile. "Xiaoxin is back. Hurry up, wash your hands and eat." Dinner was excruciating. They were all talking about the talent test tomorrow, the most important day of their lives. I just checked my phone, seeing messages from classmates bragging about their own expensive serums, all while I sat there, knowing I didn't need any of it. Later, in my room, I looked at the serum. It was worthless to me. The energy I'd siphoned from that level 4 beast was already coursing through me, strengthening my physical body. I didn't just gain power. I could steal others' talents. I just needed to pretend to be weak to hide in plain sight. The next morning, the classroom buzzed with anticipation. Our teacher instructed us to wait for the broadcast before taking our potions. The real Qin Juanhao, eager to show off, loudly mocked me, asking the teacher to check on the parasite, who couldn't even afford a potion. Suddenly, Ali walked up to my desk, looking beautiful in a white dress. She told the teacher she had brought an extra potion just for me. Qin Juanhao looked like he was about to explode with jealousy. Before he could react, another teacher burst in, calling our homeroom teacher out to the hallway. I recognized Ali immediately and started sweating. How did the woman from the alley find my school? In the hallway, the teacher met with a man in a black fedora and trench coat. The man asked to point out Qin Juanhao. Our teacher pointed at the arrogant kid in our class. The fedora man's eyes flashed with a blinding white light as he scrutinized him. He turned to Ali, asking if it was him. Ali, looking through the window, admitted the rain and my mask made it hard to see my face, but the height and build matched perfectly. The fedora man pumped his fist. He was convinced he had found his guy. The principal then dropped a bombshell on our teacher. These 2 were special envoys from the 7th Bureau, Captain Xiao and Ms. Ali, and they were here personally for Qin Juanhao. My blood ran cold. The 7th Bureau was a violent agency that dealt with mutants and highly dangerous awakened individuals. My talent was dark, unheard of, and capable of stealing abilities. If this official government agency discovered the truth, I'd end up sliced open on an operating table for research. I couldn't be exposed. In a moment of panic, I snatched the black-rimmed glasses off the nerdy kid next to me and shoved them onto my face. As long as I looked different, they wouldn't connect me to the rainy night judge, who obliterated a level 4 mutant. The fat kid next to Qin Juanhao was losing his mind, explaining that the 7th Bureau only recruited B-rank super elites or higher. Qin Juanhao scoffed, bragging that while the 9th Bureau was the top tier, the 7th Bureau was still elite. He assumed his family's connections, specifically a dinner his dad hosted, had secured him this special recruitment. He stood up, basking in the admiration of the class, claiming it was all due to his hard power and connections. Ali walked back in. She asked why I was suddenly wearing glasses since I wasn't nearsighted. I gave her a charming smile, lying that I just wanted to see if they made me look more cultured. The teacher returned and shushed the class, but the secret was out. Everyone started cheering for Qin Juanhao, begging him not to forget them. Qin Juanhao stood on his desk, soaking in the glory, promising to treat the whole class to a top-tier club if he really got recruited. I watched him make a fool of himself, knowing exactly how hard he was going to fall when that arrogant Captain Xiao realized he had the wrong person. We all moved to the massive stadium for the talent tests. The atmosphere shifted when a white-haired man in sunglasses and a woman in black walked onto the field, carrying a silver briefcase adorned with dragon motifs. A row of suited men bowed to them. The fat kid in the stands completely lost it, identifying them as the legendary 9th Bureau, carrying the 9 Dragons totem, their highest symbol of authority. I felt a crushing, terrifying pressure radiating from the white-haired man. I knew instinctively that if he wanted me dead, it would only take a single thought. Up in the VIP stands, Captain Xiao spotted the 9th Bureau and smiled smugly. In the stands, the fat kid grabbed Qin Juanhao, pointing out that the big shot from the 7th Bureau was smiling right at him. Qin Juanhao told him to keep a low profile, then turned his arrogance toward me. He taunted that bookworms like me usually awakened useless talents, like operating an excavator. I smiled back, telling him that an excavator talent was still better than awakening an A-rank simp talent. Furious, Qin Juanhao turned away. Ali approached me again, asking where the potion she gave me was. When I told her I left it in the classroom, she was exasperated, grabbing my hand and scolding me for being careless at a life-changing moment. I told her it was too late to go back, and if I didn't awaken, it was no big deal. The announcer called our names to enter the testing pods. Up above, Captain Xiao urged Ali to get the special recruitment contract ready, so they could intercept Qin Juanhao the moment he stepped out, eager to steal him from the 9th Bureau. Inside the high-tech pod, I held on to my grandfather's dog tag. With my slaughter origin talent masking my true power, and without any potion in my system, I knew the machines would only read the A-rank strength talent I had stolen the night before. That would be enough to keep me under the radar, far away from the terrifying 9th Bureau. But I was wrong. In a private monitoring room, the woman from the 9th Bureau stared at her screen in absolute shock. She reported to the white-haired man that without using any potion, my readings were spiking at an SSS-rank potential, and it wasn't just one type of wavelength. She realized that if I had used a high-purity potion, my talent would have shattered limits and reached the mythical SSS-rank. The white-haired man lowered his sunglasses, a predatory smile spreading across his face. Fong Xian, right? Interesting. The 9th Bureau wants this monster. I stepped out of the testing pod through a hiss of steam, confident that my A-rank disguise was flawless and that I had avoided the 9th Bureau's attention. At the same time, Qin Juanhao exited his pod. Instantly, Captain Xiao rushed over and grabbed Qin Juanhao's arm, much to the roaring excitement of our classmates who thought he was officially recruited. Watching from their window, the white-haired man sipped his coffee and laughed at Captain Xiao's blunder. The woman explained that the 7th Bureau didn't know about their newly upgraded detectors. When asked about Qin Juanhao's actual rank, she dismissed him as a natural C-rank who only reached a weak B-rank thanks to pumping himself full of potions. The white-haired man called it trash and ordered her to prepare my contract. They were going to my house tonight for dinner and a signature. Down on the field, while everyone swarmed Qin Juanhao, Ali gently grabbed my hand and suggested we find a quieter place to sit. I politely declined, telling her I needed to head back to the classroom first, and then find my sister in class 8. Bewildered, Ali asked why I needed to find her. She looked at me with deep confusion in her purple eyes, demanding to know why I needed to find my sister. My gaze hardened as I revealed my intention to hand over the awakening potion to her. The realization hit Ali like a physical blow, her white dress fluttering in the stadium breeze, as she understood that I had completely sacrificed my own future just to save the vial for my younger sister. Frustrated by my stubbornness, she argued that a single potion wasn't enough and aggressively tried to force her own official vial into my hands, reminding me of our lifelong bond since kindergarten and insisting I could ask her for anything. I just gave her a playful, teasing smirk and asked if she could give me a kiss instead. Ali instantly froze, causing her to angrily swing her arms and grab my jacket in pure frustration. Next morning, in the school I approached my sister, Zhang Xiaocha, who was quietly reading a book by the window. When she realized the testing was over, I slid the blue potion vial directly onto her desk. She looked at me in utter disbelief, her eyes widening behind her glasses as she realized I hadn't used the awakening potion on myself. I brushed it off casually, telling her to take it, but she couldn't help but tear up, knowing I had sacrificed my own future for her sake. I tried to make light of it, teasingly pointing out that if I hadn't planned on giving it to her, I wouldn't have kept it hidden from her parents the night before. She hit me lightly on the head, calling me out for doing it just to spite her father. Inside the classroom, the arrogant Qin Juanhao stood proudly before the students, a rain of gold coins dramatically dropping around him as he boasted about his official recruitment into the 7th Bureau. He bragged that his wealthy father was even donating a building to the school to celebrate his grand achievement. He specifically calls out to Chu Xian, urging her to attend, but she politely declines, citing pre-existing plans to visit the ocean-themed exhibit with me. Back at his desk, Fang Xian uses his phone to contact his father, requesting that they secure the entire aquarium facility so he can host his gathering with classmates there instead. Suddenly, the classroom erupted into chaos as a massive leak dropped the actual testing scores into the student group chat. Students stared at their screens in horror or shock as they saw their low rankings. I looked down at my own phone, scanning the document in confusion because my name was completely missing from the register. Instead, I saw my sister's record perfectly detailed on the screen, showing her exceptionally high compatibility scores across multiple categories. I returned to my aunt and uncle's house, where the atmosphere was thick with a strange tension. My aunt welcomed me home warmly, wiping her hands on her apron. My cousin immediately threw a tantrum on the couch, demanding to know why I was being treated like a hero when she and her sister did all the actual work today. My aunt defended me, but my cousin scoffed, expressing severe doubts about whether I awakened anything useful or if I was just a complete piece of trash. My uncle slammed his phone on the counter and poured a drink, loudly boasting about his daughter's incredible A-rank talent score. He walked over to me, rubbing it in my face that top organizations would be begging to recruit her while I had absolutely nothing to show for myself. He got progressively drunker and more aggressive, pointing his finger directly at me and screaming that I stole my cousin's potion, effectively ruining her chances at a potential S-rank awakening. He declared that I owed his daughter for the rest of my life. My aunt flared up in anger, her aura exploding with intensity as she fiercely defended me against his toxic accusations. My uncle doubled down, completely losing his temper and screaming insults at me across the dinner table. Suddenly, Jiang Xiaocha slammed her hands onto the table, tears streaming down her face as she completely broke down. She yelled at her father, revealing the absolute truth, that I had given her the potion willingly, and that it was their entire family that was deeply indebted to me, not the other way around. My uncle froze in absolute shock. My aunt rushed to my side, grabbing my jacket as tears streamed down her face, entirely heartbroken over the silent sacrifices I had made for the family. I gave her a gentle, reassuring smile, telling her that everything was fine, and that I never needed the potion in the first place. She openly weeps, begging for my forgiveness for how horribly the family had treated me over the years. On the couch, my spoiled cousin blew a massive pink bubble with her gum, completely unfazed by the family drama, casually remarking that even if I had used the potion, I wouldn't have amounted to much anyway. My sister, pushed to her absolute limit, sending a book flying violently across the room to strike her cousin right in the face. She commanded her father to apologize to me immediately, threatening to completely reject every single organization if he didn't make things right. Terrified of losing his daughter's bright future, my uncle completely humbles himself, bowing and frantically begging for my forgiveness, pleading with me to calm my sister down. I gently tapped my sister on the shoulder, telling her it was fine and that we should just eat. A sudden knock echoed through the house. My aunt opened the door to find a heavy-set man carrying a massive stack of brightly wrapped luxury gifts. He introduced himself as a high-ranking representative from the powerful Tianan Chamber of Commerce, specifically scouting my sister for her incredible talent. My aunt's jaw dropped in utter bewilderment. The representative stepped into the living room, offering an astronomical contract that included a luxury penthouse and a fleet of supercars just to secure her allegiance. My uncle's eyes instantly lit up with pure greed. Before anyone could process the offer, another firm knock sounded, and a sharp woman in a black business suit entered, introducing herself as the elite agent for the prominent Li family. She boldly XML declared that whatever the chamber offered, the Li family would instantly double it to secure the talent. The two powerful recruiters glared at each other, sparking intense corporate rivalry right in our living room, while my uncle tried frantically to play mediator. The front door opened yet again, and a tall, intimidating man in a dark tactical jacket stepped inside. He introduced himself as Chu Gang, the elite captain of the 2nd Special Action Team from the prestigious 4th Bureau of the Tiandun Bureau. My uncle nearly faints with excitement, rolling out the red carpet for such a high-ranking government official. Chu Gang turned directly to my sister, asking if she had made her final decision. Inside the void, Zhu Geheng paced the obsidian surface in the void, his black trench coat swirling around him as the recruiters shifted their gaze to me, realizing I held all the cards. My uncle sneers, asking me to reveal my own pathetic testing scores to prove I had no right to decide her future. The chamber representative pulled up the official registry, noting that my name wasn't even on the C-rank or above list, which prompted my uncle to mock me for being an absolute zero. My sister countered fiercely, declaring that whichever organization was willing to take my brother, she would join them without hesitation. Chu Gang strictly refused, citing the 4th Bureau's elite standards, while the Li family representative reluctantly agreed to take me in as a low-level charity case with zero benefits. The door opened one final time, and a white-haired man wearing dark sunglasses and a black trench coat strolled inside, followed by a female officer. He casually adjusted his glasses, completely ignoring the tension as he asked for a cup of coffee and checked if I was home. I immediately broke into a cold sweat, recognizing the elite powerhouses of the legendary 9th Bureau. My uncle exploded in anger, demanding to know what kind of low-class thugs I was bringing into the house. But his jaw dropped when Captain Chu Gang suddenly stood at attention, rendering a crisp military salute to the white-haired man, identifying him as a legendary supreme commander. My uncle instantly shifted into a groveling, submissive state, frantically trying to please him. The white-haired man introduced himself as Zhu Geheng, the legendary leader of the mythical 9th Bureau. He turned to me, stating he had two simple objectives: to officially recruit me into the highest level of the government and to eat dinner. My uncle was utterly dumbfounded, loudly protesting that the 9th Bureau must be making a mistake since I was a talentless failure. Chu Gang firmly corrected him, revealing that the 9th Bureau was the absolute pinnacle of power, an ultra-exclusive shadow organization that only accepts terrifying monsters with S-rank potential or higher. The chamber representative added that my data was missing because it was locked under SSS-class military encryption, completely hidden from civilian eyes. Zhu Geheng slammed a high-tech device onto the table, projecting my true testing data into the air. The glowing holographic screen revealed that I simultaneously awakened 5 legendary talents, reaching an unprecedented SS-rank baseline without even touching a potion. I cursed internally, realizing my cover was blown. Though relieved, my dark slaughter ability remained hidden. Zhu Geheng pulled out a contract, telling me that signing it binds me to the pinnacle of state power. I looked him dead in the eye and openly questioned whether I was forced to join. The entire room gasps in absolute horror at my defiance. Zhu Geheng bursts into a loud, booming laugh, noting that I am the first person in history to reject the ultimate bureau. He steps closer, his eyes flashing red through his sunglasses as he whispers that while others have a choice, the grandson of the legendary Fong Yintai, the mythical god-tier commander Fong Qingdi, does not. He snaps his fingers, opening a swirling dark spatial portal that instantly teleports both of us out of the living room, leaving the recruiters and my family frozen in sheer, unadulterated terror as they realize the true identity of the monster living under their roof. Inside the void, Zhu Geheng paced the obsidian surface in the void, his black trench coat swirling around him as he began to dismantle my understanding of everything I knew. He mocked the simple, kindly image of the grandfather I grew up with, his voice cold and authoritative as he revealed the true identity of Fong Yintai as Fong Qingdi, one of the 4 great gods of the precursor era. The void around us fractured, projecting terrifying holographic images of a city burning in the wake of my grandfather's legendary defection, an act of rebellion that had once plunged the entire world into chaos. He acknowledged that while my grandfather's name was once an absolute taboo, the political landscape had shifted and his reputation had been officially restored. The pressure in the void intensified as he moved the conversation to my future, asserting that Elder Yi, the leader of the 9th Bureau, was the only one capable of shielding me from the shadows. His tone darkened further, revealing that the car accident that took my parents' lives was no tragedy, but a calculated, targeted assassination executed to suppress their research. He pressed a small, glowing space coordinate pearl into my hand, explaining it as a failsafe that would summon him to my side the instant I faced mortal peril. He ended his ultimatum with chilling clarity, stating that the only way to uncover the truth and settle my family's blood debt was to wield the immense, clandestine power that only the 9th Bureau could grant me. He mentions the briefcase that Xiaolu asked Fong Xian to sign for, which contains a device called the Sky Shield Interlink. This device is restricted to official members of District 9, allowing them to contact teammates and access highly classified information. Fong Xian expresses confusion, noting that his score sheet shows 5 talents, but he has never felt any of them. Zhu Geheng dismisses this, saying the other talents are still dormant, merely potential, and that once Fong Xian joins, District 9 will put him through rigorous, unconventional training to activate those talents. Zhu Geheng promises it will be so intense that Fong Xian will question his own existence. He finishes by asking if there are any other questions, and when Fong Xian stays silent, he mentions they should go out for a meal, as he is starving. Fong Xian is suddenly back in the living room, sitting on the sofa with others. He is eating while Zhu Geheng sits opposite him. Crying and complaining about being hungry, a woman brings the plate, and Zhu Geheng thanks her. After eating, Zhu Geheng tells his two companions that they have been there long enough and should leave. As they nervously depart, Zhu Geheng remarks to Fong Xian that he knows who they are and suggests that one of them should report to another station first, and if that doesn't work out, they can come to the fourth station later. He asks if Fong Xian agrees. Fong Xian remains silent, and a girl sitting beside him quickly agrees. The man on the couch asks if his two daughters can also go to District 9, and Zhu Geheng replies that the eldest daughter is barely acceptable, but the youngest is not, remarking that District 9 security dogs have higher talent levels than her. He takes a bite of an apple and tells Fong Xian he has 3 days to give him an answer, then gets up and walks away. Later, a woman informs Fong Xian that a local delivery arrived for him in the afternoon, and she placed it on his desk. Fong Xian enters his room, opens the box, and finds an old-fashioned mobile phone. The screen lights up with a video message from his grandfather, who urges him to remember 2 things. Join District 9 and go to the mirror before midnight. Fong Xian then opens the briefcase and activates the Sky Shield Interlink device, but decides against registering just yet, wanting to hold onto the space orb for now. He then sees a message on his own phone from a girl who wants him to join her at an aquarium, and he agrees to buy tickets. A man with a beard and red glowing eyes is distressed, shouting about a mistake. He yells at a woman, Ellie, demanding that she verify the information about Fong Xian. He cannot believe this person, who supposedly defeated a level 4 alien in one go, is just an ordinary guy, pointing at a document stamped B-level. Ellie, looking nervous, says she isn't sure as it was raining heavily that day, but the man is inconsolable, lamenting that he has made a fool of himself by booking the biggest venue in the city for an event for someone he now believes is a fraud. He vents his frustration by kicking at his desk. Ellie, sweating, interrupts and tells him to forget the moron and focus on the current mission, to protect a girl. The man realizes she means Chu Xinyao, the only daughter of an important figure. Ellie adds that the Eternal Night Army has dispatched a level 8 threat to kidnap her, which makes the man panic about the high danger level. He tells Ellie that the team leader is already on the way and they must protect the girl from the shadows. Fong Xian is back in the bathroom, staring into the mirror, frustrated after waiting for a long time. Suddenly, his reflection smiles with glowing red eyes. Fong Xian, startled, leans back. His reflection, sitting on a dark throne, mocks him for his surprise. The reflection says that after a long time, it has had many titles: Number 0 Judge, Leader of the 7 Kings, King of Slaughter, and Godslayer. But it also goes by the name Fong Xian. Fong Xian is shocked to realize the person in the mirror is himself. His reflection says they are the same and shouldn't waste time on pointless questions. It warns that because of Fong Xian's current weak physical strength, he can only sustain the connection for 3 minutes. It tells him that as the Godslayer, he can absorb the talents of others and upgrade his own through killing. It adds that Fong Xian can call upon it when he is in danger, and explains that at this moment it can only exert power equivalent to a level 5 peak. It tells Fong Xian to memorize a mantra to summon it, and gives him a final, grave warning to be extremely wary of a specific person. The scene shifts to a kitchen where a man brings home food for his daughter, Xiaoyu, but realizes he forgot the milk tea she wanted. Xiaoyu is furious, yelling at him for playing favorites by buying food for Fong Xian but not for her, and she screams at her father that she might not even be his real daughter. In the living room, a girl asks her older brother, Fong Xian, about his plans for his day off. He replies that he has made plans with classmates. He then receives a message from the girl, Xinyao, who tells him she has arrived and asks where they should meet. The man with the beard is in a command center, relaying orders to everyone that the target has left, and they must protect her at all costs. Ellie tells him that Qin Juanhao has also invited classmates to the aquarium. Fong Xian meets Xinyao, and they head to the aquarium together. As they walk around, Xinyao remarks that the place is unique because many of the animals have developed intelligence. They watch performances by an octopus playing a piano and a turtle, and Fong Xian watches in disbelief. Qin Juanhao and his classmates appear and act surprised to run into them. Xinyao is annoyed, but follows Fong Xian as he walks away. Qin Juanhao calls out after them, asking if Fong Xian is there for the performance, and then he and his friend mock him. Fong Xian ignores them. Suddenly, the situation escalates as the performance turns into a real fight, with water and energy blasts destroying the tank and startling the audience. People run in terror. The man with the beard, watching from the command center, panics, realizing the Eternal Night Army has deployed a level 8 threat and used the aquarium as a weapon to capture the defenseless girl. He orders his team, including Ellie, to stop worrying about Qin Juanhao and to prioritize protecting the girl. A man in a suit, their leader, appears and tells the team to protect Xinyao while he goes to deal with the level 8 enemy himself. The man in the suit and his team run toward the scene. Fang Xian realizes the situation is dire and decides he must summon his other self, Chu Go, to intervene. Qin Juanhao continues to brag about his father's expensive security, only to be terrified when he realizes the danger. The attackers attack, but the man in the suit intercepts them, and his team quickly escorts Xinyao to safety. Fang Xian stays behind, watching the fight, curious about Xinyao's background. Qin Juanhao calls out to Ellie, asking if she is there to protect him. The team leads Xinyao to safety, but they are suddenly swarmed by monsters. The man with the beard realizes they are being targeted by mental talent monsters, and orders Ellie to set up a defensive barrier to protect Xinyao. Qin Juanhao, standing nearby, gazes at the device with undisguised awe and intense envy. When his companion asks about the wait time, Qin Juanhao smiles broadly and excitedly remarks that he will have one of his own in just a year, while the other students look on with stars in their eyes. A sudden, jarring shift occurs as a hulking, turtle-like monster launches a heavy, jagged stone shell directly at the group. The shell slams against the red energy barrier with a resounding, metallic clang, forcing the floor beneath them to spiderweb with cracks from the immense pressure. Shang Tianqi, completely unfazed, leaps gracefully into the air, his movement precise and calculated. He descends and delivers a powerful, devastating kick directly to the turtle monster, slamming it into the ground with such sheer force that the surrounding area completely shatters under the impact. Shang Tianqi touches his earpiece, speaking calmly as he orders his team to escort the terrified civilians, including Chu Xinyao, out through the southeast corner. Qin Juanhao and his friend are visibly shocked to discover that the man in the white suit is actually their team leader, leading them to engage in a heated, frantic debate about the internal structure of the 7th Bureau. Qin Juanhao spirals into a panic, realizing the immense standards required to be a team leader, and mortified that he acted like such a fool in front of an 8-level powerhouse. Fang Xian stands quietly to the side, watching the leader with deep, calculating curiosity, clearly wondering about the true influence behind Chu Xinyao's father. Shang Tianqi brushes off their concerns, sternly commanding his team to stop obsessing over minor issues and focus entirely on their duties. Beneath the water's surface, a diver in a sleek black wetsuit watches their every move, smirking as he realizes exactly who he is up against. Shang Tianqi removes his glasses, methodically wiping them with a cloth as he calls out, openly criticizing the diver for wasting a high-level treasure without utilizing even a fraction of its true potential. The diver laughs, mocking him and daring him to intervene, which triggers an immediate, violent clash of energy. The diver fires off sharp, dangerous ice shards, but Shang Tianqi retaliates with a blinding blade of light. They engage in a fierce, high-speed melee, trading blows until Shang Tianqi effortlessly stops the diver's incoming blade with his own bare, glowing fist. Ellie shouts, urging the group to keep moving. As they race through the corridor, a strange, pink, dolphin-like creature suddenly erupts from the water to block their path. The creature taunts them with wide, glowing eyes, but before it can strike, Ellie lunges forward and drives her blade of light through its body, leaving it gasping and wounded on the ground. The group pauses for only a second before continuing their frantic run down the hallway. The diver, having recovered, pursues them, occasionally taunting their escape. Shang Tianqi intercepts the pursuing diver, protects Chu Xinyao by blocking a sudden strike, and binds the diver with energy ropes. Shang Tianqi turns his attention to the team, sternly reprimanding Fang Xian for wasting a precious recruitment quota on someone who displayed such obvious fear when facing the enemy. He demands to know the young man's name, and upon hearing Fang Xian, he intensely analyzes the youth's strength-type talent, speculating it must be A-level or even S-level. Fang Xian experiences a sharp pang of regret, realizing his carefully constructed cover is now completely blown. The leader relentlessly grills Fang Xian on his organizational affiliations, and upon learning he is unrecruited, immediately attempts to fast-track his promotion to team leader. A subordinate nervously interrupts, reminding him that their quota is full, but the leader coolly dismisses this, declaring he will simply recruit an extra one and inform the department head personally. Fang Xian firmly declines the offer, and the leader stares at him in heavy silence, sensing that Fang Xian is hiding deeper plans. Shang Tianqi then shifts his focus to the true enemy, a terrifying, bald man sitting on a giant, armored turtle who had been orchestrating the entire assault. The leader recognizes him as a dangerous level 10 powerhouse and admits he is impressed by the Eternal Night Army's heavy investment. Suddenly, their communication devices go dead, and the bald man chuckles, declaring that since the treasure has been activated, none of them will leave the site alive. The team leader grimly warns his team that all communication lines have been completely blocked. The bald man mocks them, offering Fong Xian a final choice. Join his forces or die immediately. Fong Xian retorts by calling his bluff, sarcastically asking if he could actually defeat the 7th Bureau's team leader. Fong Xian then plays his secret card, opening a dark, swirling portal to summon the white-haired man, Zhu Geheng.